Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by Arwin, Chocolate Sane, Brian's Logic, Refracted Curvature, Neil, 10th Man, Eli, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Yo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chocolate.
Good morning to you all. We're going to start the housekeeping questions to follow on from the conversation that we were having in the pre-show. So is there any evidence of a containerless container, a sky vacuum? Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Yes.
Well, if you believe that space is actually a medium called ether or space-time, then would you need a container since there's a medium abutted to another medium?
No, if we can debunk that there is any empty void known as space with its bending, dilating space-time and its dark matter, because we are in a contained system, then there is only speculation of what could be, if anything, beyond said containment, which we have no demonstrable examples of, other than the necessity to have gas pressure contained, the antecedent-consequent relationship. But that debunks the area being contrasted with ether when you say it's either space-time or ether. But there is no need for that comparison.
I wasn't saying it's either one. I was saying they're the same thing, conceptually.
Yeah, I would agree. At the Feast of Nonsense, we were fed something to contrast and argue about with globe believers that replaces the area that gas we are breathing would fill if it were real. Therefore, it's not real. Therefore, there's no need to have anything contrasted with it. So everyone who swallowed the ether nonsense at the Feast of Nonsense when they got to Flat Earth it's on you, I'm afraid. Space is fake.
Well, when they talk about the speed of light, is it possible that they're just misconstruing the absorption rate of material and associating that with the speed?
I don't know, but why would I want to or need to get into this? Again, like in the pre-show, who's making the claims? And if we are, or using claims of others in regards to the study of light, how is that being used to prove the nature of our world, other than prove how the nature of light behaves? I don't see why there's a need to answer that question.
It's been hijacked, you see. What they call Einstein's, I can't remember the term now, but they connect it to Einstein because he uses it as part of the general relativity.
Right, he justifies the distances.
Yeah, he justifies things by the speed, the two-way speed of light claim. You know, like they just try and justify the distance to the sun with the two-way speed of light claim.
No, I get all that, Brian, and I totally get it.
John has a good point concerning it, but I understand your point too. Why are you concerned with this? How does it prove a reality? It doesn't prove a reality.
Yeah, it's like if somebody's hijacked some bus, and then you're like, okay, so they're hijacking the bus for their own nefarious ends. And then someone says, well, how does the transmission on the bus work? And I go, I don't care. It's just, why are you asking me? Because somebody else has hijacked a bus and are using it to prove that the Earth's a globe. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, well, using buses to prove sphere Earth isn't useful because... And then further to that, I still need to tell you how the transmission works. No, I don't. And in this instance, I don't need to tell you how light works, just because Einstein's hijacking light and utilising within the heliocentric description of a place that isn't real, in this case space-time, a fourth-dimensional pseudo-Ramonian geometry that was invented by Einstein.
Well, the thing about it is...
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Arwin, we do hear you.
Oh, okay.
The thing about it is this.
We also hear Brian, though. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. The thing about it is this. I said to QE, I made a point on the show on Saturday that if you are claiming ether, let's just say, then you're also claiming the theory of relativity. You can't claim that Einstein is incorrect and also claim ether, as ether is part of his relativity theory. So technically, I made the comment on Saturday that you can't claim one and say the other is debunked because they're both intertwined. Because ether is part of his space-time, part of his space, the claim of ether. But go back and listen to the show out. But this show, Ball Busters. But the thing about it is technically the fact that you can't have gas pressure within a container debunks all of them. Ether is debunked by the fact you can't have gas pressure within a container. Not that it needs to be debunked, because it hasn't been shown to be anything in the first place. There's no evidence of it. But the point is that you can't have gas pressure without a container. You can't have space to have ether.
It just seems like yet another example of something that we are handed when we get here to compare and contrast with one of their own failed arguments. For example, boats falling off the edge of a pizza pie in the Flat Earth Society depiction of a pancake rising up through space. Number one, why is it asserted that it's a pancake with a boat falling over the edge, and why is it floating up through space? Well, the reason it's got an edge with a boat falling over it is because sphere Earth has a physical hill in your view at the horizon with boats falling over it. So there's a need to ask us to compare and contrast and have us ridiculed for boats falling over an edge. Because globe Earth boats fall over an edge. Why is it rising up through space? Well, because in the anti-Flat Earth / Flat Earth Society narrative, the pizza pie flat Earth is accelerating up through a sky vacuum at 9.8 meters per second squared. I kid you not. So it's essentially got the anti-gravity, the reverse description of gravity in the Flat Earth Society narrative. And lastly, it's going up through space. Well, in terms of what are we positioned and asked to show? A dome, aren't we? Where's your dome? Show me the dome. If you say we're in a dome, show it me. Why is that? Same exact reason. We're asked to show a dome because their argument fails on its ass to have a gas-violating area of volume with gas not filling it. That's space. All of the gas we're breathing would violate that area, the area we are in, immediately. It would just disappear into the empty volume it had if the sky was a vacuum. That's what gas does near vacuums. So next time any fundy looks at the picture of Earth claimed to be from a sky vacuum, where you see clouds clinging to a blue marble with a black vacuum next to them, that's high-pressure gas next to a vacuum not dispersing into it. So ask the flat earthers where their dome is.
Right, but
Can I ask a question?
Well, I just wanted to link it lastly to the ether. So, but you all want to get in on it. But if someone else wants to link that exact same way of having two different versions of the crap globe Earth argument, with us having a false narrative given to us when we got here, ether's one of them to juxtapose with the sky vacuum.
Right. Well, when ether was first supposed to exist, it was a heliocentric universe that it was thought to exist in. It was, and I think it might have been because of their understanding of gas behavior at the time. They understood that it would fill the volume, possibly, and that's why they extrapolated another medium to contain.
But that makes no sense because ether is light and light is not equal to gas. So how would that stop each other? This is very weird reason.
No, ether is not light.
Hold on, ether is light? Whoa.
Ether is not
It's
light.
everything. You know that.
And space,
Ether is not
space has
existing.
no properties.
Yeah, but if it's going to be used as to fill in for the vacuum, well, that makes no sense because it's
No properties
going
means
to
it can't be
prevent
proven
the gas
to
from
exist.
expanding in all directions. So, and that's what I want to ask. Did Einstein ever even address at any point the gas pressure issue? If he's going to say, "Oh, the Earth is like a disk moving upward," did he include a dome in that conceptual architecture when he said that? Did he ever address gas?
Who
behavior?
cares? We must have
I care.
containment to have gas pressure. Beyond that,
understand.
claims of ether and sky vacuums, who cares?
I care for historical context. I care. It matters. Did he have that in his mind when he was doing his thing? Has he ever addressed anything related to gas behavior within his entire career?
All he had was relativity in his mind, meaning his cousin.
Is that no, or is that a yes?
Brownian
I'm just
motion was
confused as to
supposedly-
why we're quoting Einstein on ether when there's many other scholars that understood it way better and light way better than Einstein.
Understood what?
Understood what?
Yeah, what's it?
Understood what?
Understood ether.
There's no ether. It doesn't
is-
exist.
What is it?
Hold on, we've just had a bit of circular reasoning. Why is that? That he understood well, better than anybody, or others that understood it better than he. What is it?
I'm not going into details on it. I'm just asking why we're quoting Einstein on ether when there's way better scholars
I see.
that understood and worked with light and everything better than Einstein. Einstein actually wrote a letter apologizing that he didn't understand it at all.
Hello. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, last time you said it worked with light and ether. Now you've reduced that to just light. So, you now, with your example of him having other scholars knowing how to best work with ether and light, has that just been reduced down to no examples of them working with the thing that you claim is real? So it's just gone down to light now. Just people worked well with light. From what you didn't understand in the pre-show.
I'm just going to agree with you because I'm not in the mood to debate you on this.
What you did in the pre-show, and you got absolutely annihilated based on your total lack of understanding of what light is, how it's behaved, how it's described mathematically as a wave function. You didn't have a clue. You were clueless. You're not going to debate me. You did. You lost. You did. You lost. Now shut up.
Experiment.
Now shut up.
That's what I didn't
Now
understand.
shut up.
Can we agree?
shut
that?
up.
I asked about the double slit
Shut your
experiment,
mouth,
correct?
Dumbo. Shut up. Don't smirk
Well, no,
either.
you're
You
lying.
did debate
You're
me.
lying
You
about
lost
me now.
badly. Now,
You're going to accuse Nathan
now
of lying
Neil's
now.
been triggered because you can't
Neil.
stop yattering. Neil and Arwin will start following suit because that's what they do.
I asked about the double
I don't
slit
care what you asked
experiment,
about. I'm
correct?
telling you to shut up. You demonstrated
lie.
admirably in debate with me that you had absolutely no understanding. You pleaded with me to explain that which you did not understand that was wave function to you. Now you've got the audacity to tell my audience I'm not going to debate with you. You did. You just didn't understand what the hell you were talking about. So to take that position annoys me greatly. Like you're in some position to say, I'm not going to debate you about this. You're damn straight you're not. If you did, you'd lose. You already have, and you did. So don't tell us what ether is. I'm pointing out that for my audience, you have suggested that there are better scholars who have worked with, quote, ether and light. Then no less, four people asked you what ether was. And your response was to say, A, you're not going to be debating it or describing it, and then you reduce the exact same description of what they were working with to just light. So will you now concede that you can't show it? It's, quote, non-manifest. This bullshit that you got your ass handed to based on a lack of understanding in the pre-show. Can you just concede it? You won't be showing us the shite you believe in?
No, I'll live another day to tell my tales.
Tales, that's all you've got. Tales of the ether. We're not interested in tales. We're interested in observed natural phenomena. That's what we're interested
Yeah, observe natural phenomenon. We live in a pressurized system, correct?
That's got nothing to do with ether. The thing we're asking you to show us.
Nathan, he called Nicholson Morley an experiment. He's off the rails.
Yeah. Either way, right, we're only interested in what these so-called scholars have got to show us in physical reality. The physics of ether would be all we would be interested in. The observed natural phenomena, the presumed cause, if you're going to say you've got some science for it. That's it. But all we get is told, well, we've got people who work with light. You know, after inferring that they've worked with ether, that these people are scholars in ether, something we can't be shown. And then when quizzed, oh, I've got nothing to actually show you or debate you on this with. But these people have definitely worked with light. That's fascinating. Yeah, we know a lot more about light than you do. But you're out there in the circuit babbling on about ether when you don't even know what light is. So you're an embarrassment to us. That's what you are. You know, you disgrace me, personally, by walking around with your total lack of understanding about light, babbling on about ether, something you can't show, and then talk about scholars appealing to some authority that you don't understand. You are an embarrassment to me. And I want to make that plain. You're an embarrassment, okay?
Nathan, actually, I think you're an embarrassment. You're limiting yourself.
No, you.
Sorry, excuse me?
Oh, here we go. Limiting
Sorry,
again.
let's hear how I embarrass this community. Go ahead.
By limiting your knowledge about the known world. There's a lot more than just
describe how.
There's a lot more than just wave functions.
You are talking about light specifically, something you don't know anything about, and you've got the audacity to tell me that I'm out here. What?
What's light? You don't even understand light.
So I don't understand light. You asked me to explain wave function to you in the pre-show. Now you've got the audacity to tell me I don't understand. So you just disseminated into being a dick, right? I'm not going to debate you. Yeah, pride, my friend. That's you having no humility. Yeah, you didn't understand what wave function was. I had to explain it to you. I did calmly. And then on the live show, you've now started to become a dick. Yeah? I don't get it. Why? Why lose all of your humility over this? I don't get it.
Because you don't understand light. You just know it as a wave function.
Right, you only learned this term today.
No, I didn't.
Kidding now.
Sorry, why that laugh is a laugh of a liar, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. Feel free to become a member or wait a couple of days to listen to this lying little shit who just had wave function explained to him today by me. Don't laugh again, you little liar.
He even admitted he got it mixed up with Michelson Morley.
You're a liar. Yeah, I'll say again.
I did.
Yeah,
right.
Don't stutter and stammer about your confessions. We know it's recorded. Just sit down and shut up. You are an embarrassment to us. Yeah, I consider myself a flat earther, and I see you, personally, as an embarrassment to me. That's what you are. Don't tell me I don't understand light. Dick that didn't understand what a wave function was about 25 minutes ago. How dare you? Now, that kind of arrogance is also an embarrassment to me. Don't associate yourself with the term flat earther. You're not. You're an embarrassment to flat earthers.
I'm not a flat earther.
Good.
It sounds like
good.
It's embarrassing to be called a flat earther.
Well, you're just parroting off my insults towards you based on your lack of understanding of light that had to be explained to you. Now you're just saying, well, no, you're an embarrassment. Why are you 12?
Projecting.
I'm trying to understand what's the fight here. Like, you want to believe in ether, whatever that is, great. But if you can't prove it empirically to anybody, why do you fight about it? I don't get it.
Well, hold on, chocolate, my friend. You're giving too much credit here. You can't even make a coherent statement, let alone defend a position. I mean, it's painful to watch. Now, for example, he's saying he's embarrassed to be called a flat earther. Why? Because the Earth isn't planar in nature in the sense that it has zero undulations, being mountains or water waves. I mean, think about it. Being hyper-specific that the Earth isn't necessarily flat because it's not a literally 2D object and it's actually 3D. And therefore, you're embarrassed to be called a flat earther? I mean, come on, how pedantic can you get?
Wait, he said all that too? I didn't even hear all that.
Now that's a straw man.
Jesus Christ.
Lord of Lords. Hey, Nathan, can you go to Master B? I got 2 slides. You can start with the last one, which is the Black Swan. I'd like to make a contrast here.
I want to say something after you, Tent.
That is not a swan, that's a whale.
Not that. Go to the last two.
That's a huge whale.
Shush.
Okay, Black Swan.
Okay, Black Swan. Platform habitat, 9.41 miles. Platform hill house, 6.21 miles. Observer height, 1 foot. Max distance, geometric horizon, if you live on a sphere, 1.22 miles. What does this prove right now, Nathan? Right here, what does this prove?
That the horizon's not Earth curve and the Earth is not a sphere, radius 3959.
All right, go to the previous slide. See a submarine? Observer's horizon, geodal horizon, figure 2.7, the nautical almanac, and the site reduction tables assume that the sites are taken at sea level. For instance, from the periscope of a submarine barely emerging the water. Second one, figure 2.8. The height of the observer's eye above sea level. Now, what was the first one say? The nautical almanac and site reduction tables assume that the sites are taken at sea level. What does the second one say? The height of the observer's eye above sea level determines the dip. This angle must be removed from the altitude of the celestial body above the horizon. That's the sea horizon, not the bubble, not the astronomical, not the sensible. That is measured with a sextant. Now, see that dingleberry drawing underneath? That's just like the ether. Can't show it, can't see it, but let's draw it and fool everybody. I'm done.
Well, he reminds me of ballers when you go to their channels and they say that we're limiting ourselves with science because it's too narrow. Now he's saying Nathan is limiting himself because he doesn't want to believe in this nonsense called ether that's unmanifest. It's a joke.
I do like the topology of red herring. That's one of the better red herrings out there.
Okay.
That dingleberry is non-manifest. We just saw the black swan. Go look at the black swan. Do you see that thing that they draw under all their celestial navigation books to fool you to think you're on a sphere getting an elevation angle from a curved surface? Are you that crazy not to allow your logic to realize that they're lying to you on this one very important point? Yeah, but none of the celestial books say we live on a flat earth. Yeah, because they're lying to you. And you can out them right here.
Speaking of which, is there any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
Not without any considerations.
Geometric
Earth can't be
considerations.
curving.
Say again, John?
Earth can't be curving, else you wouldn't be able to get an elevation angle from the surface.
That's correct.
Yeah, it isn't. Because it can be, because you need the flat angles and all that to achieve a globe model, but you could always think of that flat Earth as a globe model. And that's the considerations.
I don't know if you guys checked out the show I trimmed out from yesterday, addressed to Mike Robinson. Upon listening
Excellent.
I was going to say it was designed to be a response video for a specific individual, but when you actually listen to it back, it's a description of how Earth operates and how Earth's flat and can't be possibly spherical. It's actually a really good half an hour summary that I'd say, although it's pretty top of the tree in terms of complexity to understand some of the stuff that's being disseminated when talking about celestial navigation, but for the most part, I'd say as a whole package, it's kind of mid-range. You know, if you're familiar with a flat earther that just doesn't know his stuff that much, chuck 'em that video. That response to Mike was all of you at your very finest, I would say, in terms of just disseminating it concisely in rebuttal to a guy claiming everything's spherical and everyone knows it. We're all building it and navigating it spherical. And then the response that follows to that is just epic from all of you. So kudos. And if you haven't listened to that response video to Mike Robinson, go and check it out.
I like how you made them say his name, too. That was awesome.
It's the little things, eh, Neil?
Yes, because if he gets a hold of this, you never know. His eyes might be opened.
I don't care. No offence. Yeah, forget about the proving Earth's a flat plane by way of its elevation angle measurements to derive a celestial sphere model over a flat plane, we used his name.
No, the way you made them say his name, address it to him, and it was everybody at their finest. I agree.
Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Mike Robinson.
Is under the misapprehension that even bridges are being built on curves, which they absolutely unequivocally are not.
Yeah, that was the big proof. The Verrazano Bridge in Brooklyn proves that the Earth is a sphere. That was like 2015.
Even though they use
that's funny. Survey. I used to live a few blocks from there. Maybe he forgot that water underneath was completely flat. Yeah, thanks.
Don't count.
And the method to build it was what, John?
They used planar surveying whenever they were engineering the bridge. Planar.
John, there's a 6-inch difference. Don't you realize that?
6-inch what?
That was the claim, that there's a 6-inch difference in height because they had to account for the spherical Earth.
Using planar surveying.
I got it in the chat. Everyone's sticking up the triangle whenever anybody mentions the angle. It's 10th man spamming triangles. Right on. Any evidence of the distance?
No, hang on. I just challenged Phil because he has no shame. Michael Kahn did a great video catching him on either making a mistake or purposely lying. I don't know until he explains himself. And all he does is just go to the next topic. He never says, okay, Michael, you got me there. I was wrong. I won't talk that way again. It's recorded, Phil.
But that's his game.
Scattergunning. He's just scattergunning. He doesn't remember what happened before that.
Oh, yeah, he does. Hold on. Sorry, 10th. I just want to address what Arwin just said. Sorry, you're under the misapprehension that these people, when they just scattergun us and move on, much to our frustration, that they just forget about that. You believe that's the case, do you, Arwin?
Yeah.
Au contraire. No. Now, they might attempt to suppress that. But no, they definitely don't just forget about it and move on. They wouldn't be here if they could do that, Arwin.
What?
Nathan, I didn't get to finish, but I'm going to post some screenshots. I'll be back.
We'll come back to this, Arwin. Go ahead, 10th. Remember your question.
No, I'm going to post some screenshots. I didn't get to finish. I'll be back.
Why? The whole reason for being here is their inability to overcome these arguments and therefore try and find their own confirmation bias by disagreeing with us, making us the enemy. Making when we are wrong, they are right. So if they can show us to be wrong, then that alleviates their pain temporarily. What pain? Well, the pain of the contradictions that get thrown up and shown to them here. So when, as 10th describes with Michael Kahn or whoever it was, Phil's inability to concede, it's because concession in that regard is concession of his entire worldview. Well, that's not going to suddenly go away and be forgotten about. That weighs very heavy. After 7 years, I'm absolutely certain of this, Arwin. This is their pain. This is the pain that they will only describe when their guards let down. Like with Conspiracy Cats, interviewed by Haunted House. His guards let down and he suddenly describes the awful truth and the reality he'd have to face if some of the things he contemplates and moves past were actually true. I mean, then everything might be a lie. Yeah? That's the suppression they might attempt to engage in. But suppressing some horrible, awful truth isn't the same as forgetting about it. Let's get that clear.
Yeah, but the one kind of invokes the other. I mean, if something is too terrible for me to handle way back, then I would literally forget it in plain sight, even if somebody just told it to me, because my cognition wouldn't allow it to integrate. And then I would forget.
Right. But it's
that
still there.
To them too,
your brain's not a tape recorder, right? You haven't got a little metal erase head that just erases over that bit of tape so that you don't have to concern yourself with it. That doesn't work.
No, it's not erased. It's just not addressed. It's like separated. It's compartmentalized.
Oh, this gets better and better. So it's in your brain unaddressed.
Yes.
Oh, that's even better.
Bypassing your consciousness.
A attempts to suppress information that is unaddressed. That suppression is the same as suppressing some trauma or mental anguish that you have faced. Why? Because it's the same thing. It's trauma and mental anguish. It took me a while, Arwin, to get my head around this. When you're in the chat with them and they suddenly scattergun you or something, you catch them out and they either circle jerk back to the beginning of the claim, so you have to go through your defence of it again, or they move on abruptly, like Phil's done in this example. Now, at the time, they've obviously figured out that it's very frustrating for me. That's where share your pain comes from, because that's what they're actually doing. An attempt to circle round to the beginning of their making the claim, because the making of the claim made them feel quite good at the beginning of this painful cycle. So they do it again. But that's them expressing their attempts to suppress their pain, their mental anguish, this trauma. That's what it really is.
But that is literally, or most cases, the cause of amnesia. It is because of trauma. That's literally what it does.
Right.
Somebody who went through a lot of trauma, they will literally not have conscious availability of what they have experienced because of the trauma.
That's
it's like
great,
forced out of it.
Yeah,
that is amnesia. That
sounds
is
like fun, huh? Sounds like fun. Chocolate spotted this the other day. So when I was editing that little section out, there's a bit right early on where Chocolate is listening to the words being read off from this guy's email, and Chocolate goes, "He sounds scared."
Yes.
Right? That's Chocolate spotting this exact scenario. Right? But he's having to disseminate his fears and concerns about it, about the greater implications. And in so doing, Chocolate picked up on the fear vibe that's coming from his words. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, you just brushed them off.
All right, Nathan, if you're ready to go. 4 slides.
Okie doke.
All right, so here's Michael Kahn at Prof. Phil Bell. Since you're traveling the surface and navigating, I'd say you have no clue what you're talking about. Personally, I think you're a troll and not a professor. So explain why a sailor at sea using a sextant doesn't need to do height of eye correction if in a, let's say, he's in a dinghy. Go to the next slide. Prof. Phil at the bottom area. Michael Kahn, which fool told you that they don't? Next slide. Michael Kahn, book by David Beerson, validated by other citations on celestial navigation. Let's go to the writing. Last slide. First, let's look at height of eye. Obviously, we want to reduce the height of eye so that we can compensate for the difference in the height of the observer above sea level. The higher we are above the horizon, the greater correction that we have to include. We want to mathematically reduce our height of eye to sea level. This is referred to as dip and is always subtracted, as it must be, because unless swimming or on a life raft, you will always be above the horizon. Phil, can you at least admit you were wrong? I got more of these. Come on, be a stand-up guy.
Admitting he's wrong concedes his entire paradigm. He's never going to do that. He's going to try and suppress the pain of what's just been said.
Okay, so then what do we do with a troll that comes in here and lies all the time?
Nothing. Don't concern yourself with him. I say, share your pain, Phil. Share your pain.
Yeah, I agree with Nathan.
I have a question.
Can I finish what I meant by that?
Yeah. Then John, go ahead.
No, we call them out like we're doing now. We can't just let them sit here sharing their pain when they're lies to people who might be, reading chat, may not have the background knowledge that we all have over the years. So we have to call him out. So if he wants to come in here and share his pain and lie, then we're going to call him out. Simple as that.
Fair enough. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say then the description of them circling back. We used to call it the respawn. That doesn't seem accurate now. It seems like it's the memory wipe.
The memory wipe? Say that again?
It's like a memory wipe. It's like their brain is covering up the information from them so that they...
Amnesia.
Yeah, it's amnesia.
Yeah, that's another way I've described it in the past. Globe-tard amnesia.
Suppression.
Yeah, globe-tard amnesia. They come on the following show and make the same argument.
Oh, because I was going to say amnesia means that they forget. They don't forget. They remember everything. That's why they're in pain.
No, that's not what amnesia is. Amnesia is the blocking of what you have experienced. And then you truly have forgotten it in that moment. Doesn't mean it can't come back. It just means it's out of reach. That's the amnesia effect.
Gene
So it looks like a respawn.
Just 1 second, just want to read out the super chat. Gene has a question. Says, I sent you a vid of anti-flirfs convo talking points from TikTok. Could you comment on them? Your AOL email. Maybe I'll have a look. Gene, thank you very much for the super chat.
Well, what I was saying is,
What you were saying was...
I was actually...
You cut off. Start again. What you were saying was...
Well, if it's amnesic, as Arwen's describing it, then it's not dishonest.
Exactly. Because they have to believe that they're on the right side.
Sorry, guys. I've just got to stop. Put a stop to this. Sorry, guys. Stop. I've got to put a stop to this. Arwen's inferring that in the brief space of time that Phil makes an assertion and then has his ass handed to him by a flat earther that he's going to suffer amnesia. All right, I'm just going to put a stop to this utter horseshit right now. No, that might occur in a car accident. He hasn't suffered a car accident. He's suffered a mental slap in the face by a flat earther in chat. He's not going to suffer amnesia from that. He's just lying to himself in an attempt to suppress the devastating and awful truth that, if conceded, his world isn't as he believes. He can't do that, so he must suppress it. He's not suffering bloody amnesia.
I agree.
Excuse me?
It's bullshit, Arwen. It's bullshit.
No, that is amnesia.
Oh, whatever. Shout out to Godzilla for the super chat. He says, Phil, quote, sharing his pain, end quote, all over the chat. The rest of us are sick of the smell, though. Also, hi. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
I thought it was interesting because that's a third option. You know, you have the lying as an option, you have stupidity as an option, but then Arwen has just introduced a third option that I found really interesting, that it could be trauma.
Come on.
You're having me on?
But it is. Globe belief is like that. When I was a globe believer, I was super tenacious. Somebody could tell me exactly how the Earth is flat and how it can't be a globe. I would understand that structure, and then it wouldn't settle in my mind, and I would effectively ignore it, not even realizing that that is what was happening. Full-on amnesia. It is what the globe does. Globe belief gets so close to your heart, it just has a tendency to make you do that to yourself much quicker than with any other belief.
So, Arwen, is everyone like you?
Okay, well, I'll accept that.
Well, a lot of people, have shown the same effect.
What about the people who aren't like you? What would you call them? Chocolate, what would you call them?
Well, they would become liars, but you would, feel it oozing off them all the time.
Chocolate, what would you call them if they're not like Arwen and live in this other thing?
Liars?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, though.
But lying shines off you. If you're lying, you feel it. Like Rumpus would lie, and he would actually lie. He didn't have amnesia. He would just lie, and you would feel it. It would, in the moment, bring up an upwelling of disgust. Very spontaneously, not derived from information. You would feel
you just said there are other. So you just admitted there are other people than you who are lying. Thank you.
Yes.
No need. Okay, go ahead, John.
What?
I was just going to say that if it's amnesia or lying, that's a false dichotomy. We just found that there's three options to this, not just two.
Yeah, stupidity is also possible, but you would follow that. You would notice as they are trying to stumble to understand it, because then they would keep trying and failing. You would see that often.
Okay, I'm happy to accept Arwen's description from personal experience and then only associate that with what's been disseminated by someone like Conspiracy Cats when he was interviewed by Haunted House. You can only infer from what you've actually had someone disseminate from personal experience. So therefore, I'll put those two things together. It doesn't matter if I describe it as suppression and Arwen describes it as amnesia. It's kind of irrelevant. What we see is that process that Phil Bell's exemplified here in the chat today, where he gets his ass handed to him, there's no concession, he tries to, let's say, put it to the back of his mind, be it amnesia or suppression. But then at a given stage, as exemplified by conspiracy cats, they have to describe how that would make them feel if they were to contemplate it, which in essence is the contemplation of it. But in a way that you say, well, I'm not going to be doing that contemplation that I couldn't bear to do because it would be too painful. It means you're just attempting to suppress it, in my opinion. But that's only based on what Conspiracy Cats actually said to Haunted House in interview.
Right. And
then you totally get out of it.
My only point really is that there's a slight nuance difference as to their consciousness about the process.
There isn't, Arwen. There's a slight lack of humility going on because they grew up and were told and think, or that flat earthers or people who believe the earth is not a globe have to be stupid. So when someone who can show them the earth is not a globe and prove that it's not a globe, like Michael Kahn did, how it can't be a globe if the process of height of light correction exists, which it does, then it can't be a globe. Right. Why won't they concede? Because they don't have humility. Because they have to believe. I'm not finished, Darwin. Maybe shut up for a minute. Because they have to believe that they are intellectually superior, but they've just been proven to be incorrect.
Right. But that's an ideological driver. That's a force behind it.
That's not an ideological anything. That is how they think. That is how they react.
Right. That is, but that's what drives them to do what they do and keep going, right? It's not actually a pointer of the conscious process. It's their will. It's what they want to do.
I won't admit that I'm wrong because this person is supposed to be stupid. So how could they prove me wrong? That's what it is.
And you even leave the fight. Hold on, you even leave the fight because Conspiracy Cats is not even around no more. Is he even in the fight? Just to hold on to his belief, he left the fight.
Arwen, is Phil Bell in the chat unconsciously right now?
I think that from my analysis, and Phil Bell comes by in my chat a lot.
In chat right now, is he unconscious?
I'm sorry, we're talking about the same Phil Bell, right?
I'm asking you a direct question.
Yeah, so in my experience, if I may answer uninterrupted...
Is he conscious or not conscious? It's an either or.
Can I answer it? It's not a yes or no answer. It's not a yes or no answer.
It is. Oh, forget it.
It's not a yes or no answer. If you won't settle for that, then I'm not going to answer.
No, I'm not going to settle for it.
Okay, jolly good.
Yes,
well, then
excellent. Well, we can establish this. Okay, guys.
He's conscious.
1 sec. Guys, we can establish this. I'm sure Michael Kahn can just ask Phil Bell if he remembers his ass being handed to him 10 minutes ago. You know, we can establish that from the chat. You can just ask, right? Hey, Phil, have you got amnesia?
Nathan, by the very fact that Phil might type in some words means he's conscious.
That was masochistic. Nathan, that was masochistic of you. I love it.
That was awesome.
We move on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
He's conscious. He just typed in something. Phil Bell, please stand up.
The nurses will be delighted. Moving on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core?
In the face of amnesia, that's a straw man statement.
The nurses.
Hey there, straw man.
Yeah. Well, literally,
no, Nathan.
You're not conscious.
No,
there's no relation to
there is no evidence.
Why don't
Brian's
you just
desperately trying to keep this train on the tracks.
Why don't you just bail out on my hey there, straw man?
Okay, thank you. Pun's over. Shout out to Matthew Eastman, who says, Phil would rather we speak about him than the reality of the nature that we find ourselves. Yeah, I think you're right in most instances there, Matthew. That is exactly what they'd prefer. They'd rather, if you disseminate their ad hominem attack on you, which is typically how it starts, to take the subject from the nature of the reality they've just had their ass handed to them with, to their personal attack on you, and hopefully in response, your personal attack on them. So then they can attack your character for using personal attacks, moving ever further away from the argument they've just lost. So yeah, I completely agree with you in most instances. Most of these faceless potatoes would prefer that you put them down than put the globe down.
Phil's here for much needed attention, and we'll give it to him. How's that?
When he's on point, when he's on topic, talking about elevation angle measurements, dip angle corrections, anything like that, I'm more than welcome Phil's presence in that regard. If you can't cope with him circle jerking and suffering amnesia after you had your ass, after you hand him his own ass, then that's your problem. Just gloat in the victory. Once you get used to that, life is a lot less painful for us, by the way, because part of that reinforced pattern that they do is because of the frustration that the people who they subject to it will demonstrate back to them, and they just rub their hands together. Oh, it's working then. Well, that distracted away from my loss quite nicely. I'll do this again. Sometimes they'll go round and round in circles for an entire hour. Why? Well, because it worked beautifully. I didn't concede at the end, did I? I reasserted the same point, and we went round and round in circles. They can walk away knowing that they've just frustrated you.
Sometimes.
Well, if it'll help Phil out any, I'll go ahead and trigger him on the molten iron core, because to get the idea of a center of Earth, you would need the Earth to be flat to measure elevation angles to calculate the sphericity of the surface you just measured as flat.
They're focusing on at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, as in it would need a defined radius to state that it's at the centre, and your radius is going to be derived from a flat plane. I like it.
Yeah,
let's trigger him further. Any sign that water vapor is a gas?
That's technically an ad hom personal attack. He's not presenting an argument. It's just a personal attack. That was just pointing out something he's done in the past that's stupid. Wow.
Only 2 days.
Well, hold on.
Cheap shot.
He's claimed to be a subject matter expert, though. Or he claims to be a subject. I don't think that's an ad hom to point out that he didn't know that.
Only for 2 days. He got his understanding back after 2 days.
No, I don't know if he ever admitted to being wrong about that.
No, he did. He did. I'll give him credit where it's due. He's admitted it to me in the past. He was, in fact, the first to actually show even an ounce of humility in that regard. Hence, I'm actually slightly defending him in that regard. In other words, I'll go, no, this is a cheap shot. My next sentence before answering this question was, no, this is definitely a cheap shot. And he had a bit of humility about it. He was like, okay, I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong.
Did he really admit that?
I apologize. Hold on. I'd like to apologize then. I didn't know he admitted he was wrong. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of Sean Hawkins.
Neither did I.
Sean Hawkins.
And I'll take it back.
Yeah. He doesn't have to do it again. But in any event, I distinctly remember him having some humility in this regard. So I laid off him and then focused on Sean Hawkins, who had absolutely no humility in that regard whatsoever. So then I ascribed it to him. Well, realistically, it should have been immediately ascribed to Phil because he was the most senior person in that discussion, right? Why wasn't it? Well, because he did actually show some humility and go, okay, I got it wrong. After a day.
What did he get wrong?
2 days.
Gas, water vapor.
What did the physicist?
Water vapor being a gas?
So a professed physicist says that water vapor isn't a gas, but as long as he admits he's wrong, he's good to go, right?
No, I just say this is a cheap shot. I'd say when someone's pointing it out and bringing it up, it is a cheap shot.
Right, so what's your opinion on a physicist that doesn't know what fucking water vapor is?
At the time it happened, that's an embarrassment, and it was. And now, obviously, me disagreeing or agreeing is meaning that this is getting laboured whether I like it or not, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a fucking clown. I'd like to bring up another topic, if you don't mind.
Yeah, be my guest.
I ask in chat, because we have Ether believers, make sure you tune in today. We're going to last call Ether. So I asked Birdman, who's in here, what is Ether? His answer to me was, our thoughts and dreams manifest. So is that the definition of Ether? Birdman.
Is that what I said the definition was?
Yeah, that's what I asked. What the
Let's go back and read it. Let's go see it.
Let's go back and read it.
Okay, calm down, everyone. Let's take this down 3 notches straight away.
Go for it.
Stop.
Let's read it. Let's see what I said.
What is ether, clown?
Ether is the element above the air.
The element above the air.
Yes, before the mind.
Element. Okay.
Yes,
so
just like the mind is.
So it's an
mind.
No, we're not talking about mind. We're talking about ether. Ether.
Yep, that's the element.
So it's an element. Diary of the mouth. You said it's an element. Chemical structure, please.
It's the element that is
chemical
air
structure, please.
Yeah, rompus me. That's cool.
Chemical structure, clown fuck. You said it's an element. Chemical structure, please.
Calling names makes it right, huh?
Chemical structure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I've got to step in.
There is
Hold on,
actually an
both of you
element
stop.
called
Both
ether.
of you, please stop.
Calling names makes you right, doesn't it?
Just stop a second,
That's your
please.
belief,
Don't respond
isn't
to
it?
him.
That's how you do it.
Please,
You rumpus me.
Stop for a moment.
And you
please.
ask me a question
heard.
and then cut me off, right?
We heard.
That's your
Hello?
tactic because you don't know. You found
Birdman,
something you don't know. And you
Birdman,
can't
dude,
explain
shut
it.
up.
Dude, could ether
Don't
be
take charge of the
earth,
questions.
air,
I
fire,
will,
or water?
Birdman.
No,
I will
it's
remove
not.
you,
Is
Birdman.
the mind
Birdman.
made of earth, air,
Birdman,
fire,
you're
and
just
water?
rumpusing this
Don't want
entire
to hear?
conversation,
Gotcha.
so you become a dick.
Yep.
So you've decided.
So you don't.
So this is what
We're
ether
gonna pluck
believers
your
do.
wings.
So this is what Arwin will now do, or Neil, now that he's decided to rumpus. They decide to join in every single time it happens. So he's become totally unreasonable. He's offered up a claim. Ether's an element. QE has said, I want to see the chemical structure of this so-called element. And this is what it's descended into. No, he's calling you a name because you've ignored his question 4 times. He asked you to give it...
I've answered it.
Now you're rumpusing me? Then you decided that you were going to take charge of the question asking. Yeah, that'll be my job. This is my show. No, my friend, you won't take charge of the questions being asked. You will, however, offer up some backing for your claim that it's an element. That would be by providing its chemical structure, not just talking continually through the host. If you continue to talk through me, Birdman, you will be removed. No, somebody's decided to server mute him. So eventually someone had to mute you because you couldn't tolerate being listened to, right? I'll try again with him on server mute, whoever it was. Thank you, because I'd have just removed him for taking over the show because he's been asked a difficult question he can't answer. Bloody for believers. He's been asked what the chemical structure is for the element he claimed. Rumpusing descends. He can't give one. It's non-manifest. It's total nonsense.
Simple question. You claimed it was an element. I just asked you what the chemical structure of the element was. That's it.
Who said it's a chemical?
You said it was an element.
You did.
It's one of the material elements, yeah.
It's one of the material elements, so it must have chemical structure.
Yep, it's not spiritual, so it's material.
So, chemical structure, please.
What's the chemical structure of yourself? Do you have a chemical structure?
Carbon, quite a lot of water.
Are you a chemical?
Sorry, Guy, can you just give him the chemical structure of ether?
At some point, that everything is not physical matter.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You've just said it is.
Real?
You just said it is. So can you tell us what the chemical structure is, given that completely contrasting statement that you're now going to rumpus me summarising? You saying it is manifest and physical, and then telling us that not everything is manifest and physical is a stark contrast to you claiming it is when we asked you to show it.
It's subtle material.
Okay, can you have the chemical structure for that subtle? Like helium's quite subtle.
Let's have this chemical structure for the sun.
No, ether, the thing you're claiming.
Yeah, see, laugh because you don't know.
Yeah, we were asking you for your claim of ether. You said it had some elements to it, some physicality to it, part of the nature of our reality, according to you. Now, the chemical structure seems beyond you, and you want to ask us what the chemical structure of the sun is? We didn't make any claims about it. You're the one making a claim about ether.
Yeah, he said it was physical, material, element. Right? What's the chemical structure then?
How about what's it made out of? Is that better for you?
Yeah.
Support his claim. He said it was a material, physical element. Yep. He's even confirmed it. Give us the chemical formula or structure, please.
Yeah, give us the chemical construction.
No, that's not a question to us. You made a claim that it was physical, material, element. What is the chemical structure, please?
Yeah, Fundy, mute me. You got it.
There's no Fundy muting going on. For the audience's benefit, this is a tactic that somebody being defeated does Not only will they engage in constant rumpusing, that would be talking through both the person asking them a question and me, the show host, they'll also project that fundy muting that's currently going on as I speak straight onto the person that they don't want to answer. So he's made a claim. He's also attempted to turn that claim into a question of QE. It's not been tolerated. So no, it's not going to be you asking the questions when you're asked to prove your claim. Nor will this constant stream of fundy muting. See that? That's what you're getting. He's not listening to a single word I say anymore.
It's
just
about
chanting
control.
through me, chanting through the host, summarising what he's just done, to the point where someone in the server has to eventually mute him. Intolerant. That's what you are. Intolerant of being proven wrong. You can't back your claim. You've been asked at least 7 times.
You haven't proven anything. You're
the one making the claim of ether. Why are you telling me I haven't proven anything? I'm not claiming anything. You are.
I'm not either.
Yeah, you are. You're claiming ether. You're claiming it's part of our physical makeup of reality. An element. Elemental to our reality is your claim.
Yeah, the mind...
Yes, so give us the structure, you stupid boy.
Have a structure?
Yes. Does the mind have a structure? Does that make sense to the question? Does that make sense to the question and your claim? You said ether was physical, material, and elemental. And then you asked us for what the mind is? Is that coherent to you?
Yeah. Do you have a mind?
Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to summarize it. Again, to all you ether believers, second time on the same show, you are an embarrassment to me personally as a flat earther when you come here and talk this nonsense to an audience, to people who can coherently think about their world. And you start telling them that part of their world, an elemental aspect of it, is ether. You're an embarrassment to us.
Then we have Cuddles the Pirate, who boot-scooted almost immediately when I came on mic. He says manifest and physical are not the same.
What?
Yeah.
Right, so it's not an element, it is a molecule type. That's what ether is.
Chewie, they claim it's God, especially Cuddles. Cuddles thinks ether is God.
Yeah, okay, but that's all nonsense. But there is actually something called ether within chemistry. I presented it.
Right, just going to read out the dictionary definition of manifest. Clear or obvious to the eye or mind. Or as a verb, show a quality or feeling by one's acts or appearance. To demonstrate.
So non-manifest would be non-demonstratable then, wouldn't it?
Yep,
Correct.
pretty much knocks out ether.
It seems to me that at least...
Just one second.
After you answer what is ether.
You want me to answer what is ether?
Yep.
Ether is essentially a field. That's what ether is.
A field, like a baseball field?
No. Analogous to a magnetic field, being that there's
no, a magnetic field is a magnetic field. We're looking for what ether is.
So what are the
No, not a question. Not a question to me.
Why is this the case? Every time somebody who believes in ether gets something hard asked of them, i.e. show us what you believe in, they start asking us questions. Why is that?
I don't know. They're clowns.
Because you want to invoke a medium, saying that medium has to be consistent of material.
No mention of medium. Nobody here is mentioning mediums. Not one of us is mentioning any medium at all. You're the only one talking about mediums.
Okay, so does a magnetic field require...
No, not does a magnetic field. No. What is ether? Good God, man.
Ether is the dielectric field.
What's a field and what's dielectric?
Field is an ether perturbation modality.
Oh, there's the circular banjo, do-si-do. So now the field is ether. What's ether? Ether's a field and a field is ether, right? Thanks.
Embarrassing, this circular logic, this nonsense that you scoffed down at the Feast of Nonsense when you got here, got to Flat Earth and were told that ether was real, and then force-fed Michelson Morley and other shite. That's embarrassing that you haven't figured out that this is nonsense yet. It embarrasses me.
Nathan, can you define
there's something about
So why are you asking me to define things? You're asking me to define what a magnetic field is. I'm not claiming one. I'm not using it to make any claims about anything you are. Yet when we ask you what ether is, you start shouting at us to prove what magnetic fields are. Who cares? I'm not using them to claim anything you are. Some nonsense that's embarrassing.
Why can't you see
Can
this?
I please share a bit of a factoid about fields? I'll keep it short, but it's very informative, right? So every field that has been established within science, which is, as far as I know, really only magnetic fields and related. All magnetic fields are derived from a material that causes the magnetic field. So how could this ever apply to ether in any form when it's specifically designated as the counter situation and thus not derived from anything physical? It could never be a field.
What he wants to do is quiz you on your knowledge of what you've just claimed. He's not going to back his ether. He's not going to show us ether. He's not going to qualify ether or describe ether. But he will argue with you about magnetism. He can do that.
Nathan, I could put an end to all this. I'm going to put an ad on Craigslist and Facebook. I'm selling non-manifested ether for $100. And when they come, they'll say, where is it? I say, give me the 100. It's non-manifested. It's all around you. I'll just make money off these guys.
Hold up. That can't be the same corner I'm selling my geometric horizons, right? Like, that's my
Can we
corner.
double up? Can we double up on that swap meet?
Yeah. We can do that. You're my people, so we can do that.
I'll bring the drinks.
My point is that fields are secondary, so how could this alleged ether, be a field? It makes absolutely no mechanical sense with everything that is known.
It's amnesia, Arwin. Come on, you just said it.
Well, it's
Is there a magnetic field
But there, you might be
associated with
onto
an electric
something.
field, Arwin?
I mean,
And
this
if
is an
so,
ideology-driven thing.
What's the material associated with that?
And what's that got to do with ether?
What's ether?
What's that got to do with ether?
Well, I'm just addressing Arwin's claim that there has to be.
Oh, I see. Rather than dealing with your claim of ether, you were addressing Arwin's claim. So it's much better that you latch onto his description of magnetism and fields than actually proving your claim of ether. It's much better to argue with that, right?
I told you what ether was. You denied it. That's not
Wait,
my
what did
fault.
you tell us it was again? just run it by us one more time.
I told you. Yeah, it's the dielectric field.
Wait, what's a field? You asked what a field was. What's a field? Like a baseball field, you were asked.
Perturbation modality.
What perturbation modality?
He's saying it's a carrier for his wave.
Sorry, say again, John.
When he says perturbation modality, it's a mode for his wave to travel in.
Perturbation modality, that's physical.
He's just migrating from one thing to another. What is ether? This. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, no, that. No, that ether. The next. One scattergun explanation to another. None of it actually explaining what it is. That is what Ern Wheeler instigated, and that's what they do.
To perturbate something, it has to be physical. So what's perturbating?
Yeah, so the loss of the dielectric breeds the magnetic field. So these two fields are synonymous with one
magnetic. No, they're not. We're still asking for ether, not magnetic fields.
That is the secondary half of
not secondary, field. Primary.
Primary would be the dielectric, as I already told you.
Dielectric. That is the ether, dielectric.
The dielectric
Define
field
dielectric.
is the ether, unmanifested.
Non-manifested. Here we go again.
Yeah, the dielectric field is unmanifest, whereas...
That means it's not real.
It can't be.
That's non-physical then. So you can't show it's non-physical.
How do you know?
Not real, non-manifest. Non-manifest. Right?
Non-manifest means a disclaimer.
Like I told you, you can't separate the magnetic from the dielectric field. They're two fields in one, essentially. The
really? Oh, really?
Okay, you just did though.
Really? Really? Is that true?
Really.
Define magnetic.
Yeah,
fuckwit. So define magnetic and then defined electromagnetic for us, please.
Why don't you try answering a question?
Uh-huh. Hey, Nathan, ask these fuckwits to define magnetic and then electromagnetic and get your popcorn.
Correct.
Define magnetic, then electromagnetic. Differentiate between the two.
You can't.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that as soon as you tell me the discrete
What's ether? Particle? Yeah.
Right, he just told us. He said it's the dielectric, and that dielectric is non-manifest. That's where we got to, correct?
Oh, God. Sorry. I didn't hear that.
The dielectric is unmanifest, but as it loses its inertial energy, it breeds the magnetic field.
Guys,
so these two things
everyone in G+, hold on. Stop. That includes you. Stop. Does nobody here stop? Does nobody here stop? Yeah, I'm trying to stop them. Yeah, that means stop. Yeah, I'm trying to stop them, but you can't stop either. So you're just as bad. I'm trying to tell them to stop interrupting you because I can hear what you're saying. Guys in G+, please can you stop rumpusing him halfway through? Neil, stop it. I want to hear what he says. So far, we've got the dielectric that is non-manifest. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as the dielectric loses its potential, it breeds the magnetic field. These two fields are synonymous with one another. Yes, the dielectric is unmanifested. It's not quantifiable. However, the magnetic field is. And this is the secondary half of the ether field. It's these two fields as one. And the only way we can associate anything physical with ether would be through the magnetic field. This is why you have things like electricity containing these two fields, all right, being the dielectric and the magnetic. It's the two necessary constituents of the electric field. And even Oliver Heaviside, Maxwell, Tesla.
Okay, I don't need you to rattle through this. No, stop. Thank you. Okay, so what I've got from your description is there's a electric field and a dielectric field. And the dielectric field, which is, according to you, a necessary component for the magnetic field, is non-manifest. Correct? Unmanifest, you said. So it's unmanifest, but simultaneously a necessary requirement for the other field. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, something that is unmanifest cannot be an antecedent.
Yeah.
How does something...
Everyone shut up. Shut up. Do I have to tell you again? Let him answer. I'll say it again because he's obviously ignored it. There was a short pause, so you all thought I was addressing you. No, I wasn't. Something that is unmanifest, in quotes, cannot be an antecedent. Full stop. End of statement.
Well, it is because the dielectric is the pure potential that the other field will actually propagate.
Right, the potential is something that is stored, right? There we go again with G+. Third time's the charm. Can't keep the mouth shut. Potential. I haven't finished. Yeah, thank you, G+. That's his now cue to interrupt me before I've even made a statement. You haven't even started yet. Sorry, potential is its potential abilities to do things. Yeah? Now we can show how much potential something has in terms of how much storage it has. Now, if it's unmanifest, as you put it, that's the opposite of being manifest. So therefore, you can't describe it as having potential if it's non-manifest. Because to be manifest would be clear and obvious to the mind or eye. If it's not clear or obvious to the mind or eye, you cannot qualify its potential.
So can I answer now?
It wasn't a question. It was a statement of how stupid this nonsense is, how embarrassing you are to me based on your description of the potential of things that are unmanifest. That was an end of the statement annihilating your nonsense that embarrasses me.
Not even close, kid. You think fields are made up of particles? Is that what you think?
So did I say that? Did the words cross my lips? No. What I said was something that is non-manifest cannot be an antecedent. You cannot measure the potential of something that is not clear or obvious to the eye or mind. That would be manifest. That's the end of my statement that annihilates ether.
So
the nonsense you claim that embarrasses all of us.
Particles, physical medium, which
So I didn't say anything about particles. I asked at the beginning of that last statement, did those words cross my lips? The answer is no.
Yeah, you're saying that?
No, the answer is not yeah, and then you talking through me, the answer is no, those words did not cross my lips. The words that did were non-manifest fields cannot be an antecedent because it's a contradiction in terms. Further to that, something that is not clear or obvious to the eye or mind cannot have its potential measured. Those were the words that did cross my lips, nothing to do with particles. You're an embarrassment. You embarrass every flat earther who calls themselves a flat earther. That's what you are. You're an embarrassment. Telling me how much potential things that are non-manifest have. You're just idiots. You scoff down this shite at the feast of nonsense and you're puking it up all over the table, embarrassing us all at this party we're all trying to enjoy. You're just the embarrassing idiot puking up on the table.
Ethereal fantasist.
These aren't my feelings. Something that is not manifest cannot have its potential measured. You are an embarrassment based on that factual statement I have made, based on me listening to your nonsense and then ripping it to shreds based on the contradiction in terms of the potential you can have in something non-manifest.
Show me the material.
I'm not going to show you jack, except my ass, as it comes down with a sweaty pair of bollocks, teabagging your nonsense about ether. That's what you can have.
You're fucking weak.
Yeah, don't swear at me, dick brain. You lost when you told me you could measure the potential of something non-manifest. That was you losing. I didn't ask you anything. I made a statement of fact that annihilated the embarrassing shite you spew. The stuff you swallowed at the feast of nonsense we all were at.
Fucking lazy.
Yeah, just stop swearing at me. I'll be the one swearing at you for the embarrassing shite you spew, Mr. I can show the potential in something non-manifest. Idiot.
Can I ask a question to him,
Go ahead.
Nathan?
I
Please.
guarantee you fucking won't.
Yeah, just keep swearing as I humiliate you, Dumbo.
Find a magnetic field. Give me the.
Yeah, we're not talking about magnetic fields. I didn't mention magnetic fields. I mentioned the field that is non-manifest that you say depends on the magnetic field. The two are obviously dependent upon each other. Why? Because of the potential in something non-manifest. How many times have I got to embarrass you idiots who believe in ether? He's so loud, he's making his mic clip to the point where he's literally distorted to all hell. Do you really need to eat your microphone when you're shown to be wrong?
Embarrassment. And so is cute.
Yes, you're projecting your own embarrassment now. I say they're embarrassing with a description of how and why they're embarrassing with non-manifest potential. And they spew it through a distorted mic over the top of me, project it back onto me. It's pathetic. You're thick because you've said something stupid. Not, no, you're thick. Bloody 12-year-olds is what we deal with. That's the mental intelligence level of someone who believes in ether. Shown to be stupid and they go, no, you're stupid.
Give me the material.
I'm not going to give you jack except my ass and balls as I teabag your corpse. Something non-manifest cannot have its potential measured. You've not addressed that. The chanting and mumbling through the devastating facts that destroy your stupid, embarrassing claim isn't going to help you answer the question.
Maybe if you just chant louder in your microphone, we will get the point.
Yeah, what's the material? Give me the material associated with the magnetic field, Arwen. Go for it. What are you going to tell me?
Fields are secondary. Fields are secondary.
Hold up, Brian's right.
Yeah, and red herring. The red herring, I'm begging the question. Complete nonsense.
Magnetic field. You can't do it. None of you can you?
Fields are secondary.
What has that got to do with ether? Hang on, Owen. Hang on. Please, if I ask you questions, can you be quiet for a moment?
He can't. He's too triggered, Brian. Brian. He can't. All he can do is chant non-stop. What he's done is kept his mic open for the last 5 minutes straight and not stopped talking the entire time. He's descended into Fundy chanting. So he can't respond to you, Brian.
I just want to be able to ask him a couple of questions where he can give me a yes or no. I don't want that. It's just yes or no on the questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that you won't get that from him. All he can do is chant non-stop through everything everyone says. So you're asking me to offer him up for a coherent conversation, something he's now incapable of. He can't do that anymore. He's incapable of it, Brian. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
The coward.
Fuck you, Neil. You fucking shit. You're a fucking.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, what was that? You wanted to say what to him, Brian? Because his response to me explaining that he can't cope with a reasonable conversation was to say, "Fuck you, Neil. Fuck you, Neil." That was his response to that, Brian. So you want to try? You want to have a go? Seriously?
Well, it's up to him. That's the point. It's up to him. If he wants to actually answer a couple of questions, just yes or no, I just need a yes or no on these questions, then
answer your question as soon as you answer mine.
You got no question.
You're making a claim about something. I need to clarify what it is that you're talking about. And I'm looking for yes or no answers to my questions. That's all. Are you willing to do that?
Chocolate. Brian's got the mic. Neil as well. Let him make a statement. Don't talk through every bloody word he's saying, because you want to have your turn to speak.
Okay. All I want is yes or no answers.
That's it.
Oh, okay. Yes, all
I want is yes or no answers to a couple of simple questions. They're answers we all want. So are you willing to answer those things?
Someone server muted him.
Are you willing to answer my question first? I've answered plenty of questions.
No, I'm not willing to. You're making a claim, and I'm looking to clarify what you're claiming. Are you willing to answer a couple of simple yes or no questions to clarify your claim? Yes or no?
All right, go for it.
Okay. Are you claiming that ether is a field?
Yes.
Are you claiming that ether is an element?
No.
Right. So you're claiming ether is a field. Right. So how would you go about proving that this field exists?
Already been done, man. You can see the dielectric inducing with the magnetic creating electrification.
No,
this is
that's
how they came
not
up.
ether. That's other things that you're calling dielectric and other things magnetic. Please, you are claiming ether is a field. Please provide evidence that this field exists. Don't tell me about dielectric, magnetic, electric, electromagnetic, just ether.
Again, I've asked the question that no one's yet to answer. So you guys only want to say something's real if it has some sort of a physical property to it, like a particle or some sort of physical essence. However, there's
support your claim. Yes or no? Are you not going to support it? Yes or no? Are you going to support it? Yes. Not support it? No.
He tried to, Brian. He gave you a contradiction in terms. So he said that you can see the interaction of the dielectric field, but he already clarified with me previously that was... Just bear with me, Brian. So he said you can see it in the dielectric field interaction with the electric field. That's what he said. Yeah?
In contrast, yes. They contrast.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I can listen and repeat. Thank you. Yeah. But the problem with that is that it contradicts your own definition of what that dielectric field is. You're saying it's non-manifest, unmanifest. So to be manifest is to be clear and obvious to the mind or eye. So when you say you can see the unmanifest field, that is an embarrassing contradiction in terms spewed up from the Feast of Nonsense.
I can explain it if you'd like. So it's
no, you don't need to explain how something can be seen when described as unmanifest. It is a contradiction.
Not at all.
Yeah. To be manifest is to be clear or obvious to the eye or mind. Clear and obvious. That's what manifest is. So for you to say you can see the unmanifest dielectric field is to say you can see, then it's manifest, not unmanifest. These two things are contradicting one another. If you can see, it's manifest. Do you get it?
Simple understanding, maybe so, but not in the entire...
Sorry, in simple understanding, no. In Socratic terms, that's what it's defined as. Manifest means you can see it. Unmanifest means it's not going to show itself with the electric field. It means it's not going to do that. So when you say this unmanifest field will show itself, it's not unmanifest in the very definition of the word.
Magnetic fields are manifest.
That's nice. But you're not claiming that that's showing us ether. You're saying that's a consequence of you're begging the question that it relies on an unmanifest dielectric field, meaning it isn't seen and can't be to be defined as unmanifest. Because if it was manifest, you'd see it. And you're saying you can see this unmanifest thing. A contradiction in terms.
Sorry to break the news to you, Nathan. Magnetic fields are not visible, okay? Sorry to break the news to you, kid.
Sorry, I can see the interaction of what magnetic waves do. Magnetic waves are not ether. Magnetic waves, if you want to call them that, are magnetic waves.
Fucking define it, and you want to tell me...
Sorry, that's nothing to do with ether. That's magnetism. Sorry, it's a separate subject.
Not at all, Nathan.
Oh, it's automatically assumed to be directly connected, and you can show it by showing the dielectric unmanifest. Yeah, that contradiction in terms. You can show us that unmanifest dielectric field, can you?
Hello? Hello? Can you hear? You all right?
So if you chant through everything I say, and then at the end of chanting through me because you haven't wanted to listen to me, pointing out the contradiction in terms that is your claim you can show the unmanifest. Yeah, that doesn't...
Yeah, actually you can. You can. You can through, if you look at any electrical circuit, or even, for example, a magnet under a ferrocell, you can see its conjugate field, which is it's the field of its geometry of force and motion.
Sorry, what's it?
And inertia and acceleration.
What's it? Ether, right?
No, you...
Oh, no. So, again, we're back to not talking about showing ether, and the manifestation in this instance, the thing we're seeing, the thing that is manifest, isn't the unmanifest dielectric field, then?
Yes, it is. It's in contrast.
Oh, it is? So we are showing the unmanifest, then, a contradiction in terms. If it's unmanifest, by definition, it's not shown. You embarrassment to flat Earth.
In the hyperboloid and the torus, you will actually see in itself the ether. It's force and motion and inertial and acceleration.
See the ether. Is that what you just said?
Yes,
you can see ether. Show it to us.
You can. Yeah,
Show
you
it
can.
to us. Show it to us. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can. Show it to us. Right now. In chat. We can see the ether. I got to add that to my list. Oh, it's already there.
Look at a ferrocell or a supercell of a magnetic
Yeah, that's a ferrocell. That's not ether. So, are you going to show us or what?
Shut up. QE, a ferrocell is just a tool to see it.
Sorry, we didn't ask what a ferrocell is.
Okay.
Yeah, show it. You said you can see the ether. Let's see it.
Will you relax? Jesus.
Would I relax? Feeling. Oh, feelings, Nancy. Show us the damn ether.
There it is.
Where at?
Post it in chat.
I'm in main
20. It's in lobby text, actually, I think it is.
Lobby text. I'm in main chat.
Neil.
Let me put it in lobby text. Hold on. There you go.
All right. Let me copy
You see
the
the
image.
center?
I'll send it to you, Nathan. Where you want it? Master
Skype,
B?
please.
Do you see it? Do you see it?
Not yet.
Do you see it?
We'll
That
give
is,
it.
that is
Hold on,
pure.
drum roll.
There it is,
Guys, got to give this a bit of a build-up. The audience is highly anticipating this, the first ever showing of Ether. So I'm quite excited. I've kept the live show going.
Actually, not the first. It's not the first.
There it is, Ethan.
It may be the first to you.
Just call me Ethan.
Sorry, Nathan. I combined Ether with Nathan.
It's a picture.
It's in Master B.
It's a freaking photograph.
Okay, thank you, Johan. Right, we've got it up.
Congratulations, Neil. You identified a photograph. That's how we show things to each other.
Okay, I love it. We've got arrows, and they're pointing at... What are they pointing at?
The torus, the hyperboloid.
The holes, the black holes.
Yeah.
So that was very high pitched.
Yeah.
Space believing Muppets.
So what am I looking at? Where there's nothing. The bit where there's nothing is ether, is it?
That is its pure inertial and potential. Yes.
Is that why they call it non-manifest?
Say that again.
Is that why they say it's non-manifest? Because we can't see it.
Yes. That is non-Cartesian space. Yes.
So that's
space has no properties.
So that's you showing us a contradiction in terms.
How is it a contradiction?
Yeah, you don't understand why it's a contradiction in terms?
No, why don't you explain?
Sure. You're showing us something that cannot be seen.
Are you looking at it?
What, that which cannot be seen?
What aren't you seeing?
Oh, I don't know. You're not showing it me.
I'm confused. Can you
should be
your question?
Yeah, you're saying that you are showing me the non-manifest. That is to say that you are showing me that which cannot be made clear or obvious to the mind or eye. So you are showing me that which cannot be shown. That's what you're showing me. You don't understand how that's a contradiction in terms.
No. I didn't claim that, but
no, you did. You said that you were showing me it was non-Cartesian counter space. That would be non-manifest ether. That would be you claiming to show me that which cannot be shown, a contradiction in terms.
Well, I'm showing you.
That which can't be shown.
You know...
You're showing me that which can't be shown. You're showing me the non-manifest. You're showing me that which isn't clear or obvious to the mind or eye, an impossibility and contradiction in terms. You know, you're not showing me that.
That's where all its power comes from the torus field, yes.
Oh, I see. So from this can't be shown non-manifest place, these two black dots, that's where all energy of the universe comes from. Wow. What makes you think that?
Can we clarify? Is this the same guy that said that ether was unmanifested?
It's yeah, unmanifest meaning impossible to make clear to the mind's eye or in any way shown. He's showing that. Yeah, that's right. That contradiction in terms is the same guy.
Don't pictures make that clear, though?
No, because I'm just trying to establish because it sounds like somebody else. Is this somebody else? The person that's showing us the picture.
Dicelo was on that track. You guys were talking with Dicelo. I'm somebody else.
Okay. So what you're showing us is manifested, right? Because obviously that's what showing means, right?
Well, you can see what it's manifesting. That's the orange torus fields around it.
So to be clear, we can see what it's manifesting. So
yes,
we can
the black
see
dots, yes.
So we can see the unmanifest manifesting. Do you not also see this as a contradiction? We're seeing the unmanifest manifest, correct?
You see pure potential and inertia manifesting itself, yes.
So the pure potential would be the unmanifest ether. We're seeing the unseen, correct? You're an embarrassment. We're seeing the unseen, you stupid idiots. You're an embarrassment to flat Earth, all of you idiots. You deserve to be shouted at the same way as the Globers are. You're a fucking disgrace. I am not seeing the unseen. It's a contradiction in terms. You complete idiot.
Do you know how an...
Don't ask me something, you stupid boy. I'm not seeing the unseen, you fuckwit. You're an embarrassment to flat Earth.
Believe in the conservation...
Don't tell me about what I believe. I am not seeing the unseen. That's
AC
a contradiction in terms.
Of power and lose
Shut up.
all at once.
Shut up.
With no repercussions.
Shut up. We are not seeing the unseen. That's stupid. You are stupid. This claim is stupid. Everybody saying we can see the non-seeable is also stupid. All of you who believe in ether are stupid. You believe in seeing the unseen. That makes you embarrassing to all of us. It needs stopping, you bloody idiots.
Cringy.
All right, what else do you have to say about it? Anything more?
Well, you got to start at the top with Ken Wheeler.
Is Ken
Can
Wheeler
you even
a flat
spell
earther?
Ken Wheeler, Neil?
God, you're not going to address a single word I've said. You've just told me we're seeing the unseen.
You're seeing...
You're an embarrassment. Sit down, ether dick, and shut up. We are not seeing the unseen. This is stupid. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We can't see that which cannot be seen. You're saying we can see the unseen in this picture. It's insanity.
You're seeing a dielectric force of motion.
We're seeing the dielectric which is unmanifest. The dielectric, according to you idiots who believe in ether, is unmanifest. Therefore, we're seeing the unseen.
Yeah.
No, you stupid dick! Don't call yourself a flat earther. You're an embarrassment to me and everyone on this panel. Yeah, we are seeing the unseen. What a joke. It's a sad day to call yourself a flat earther, I tell you what. I feel ashamed to call myself one of you.
Non-Cartesian would be fourth dimensional.
They just wanted their gravity back.
Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry.
Non-Cartesian would be... thank you, Nathan. Non-Cartesian means fourth dimensional. What is this fourth dimensional? General theory of relativity.
Pseudo-Riemannian. For space, time bending.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it all comes back to
Do you see the bending of the hyperboloid and torus field?
Yeah, sound a lot like bending fourth dimensional space-time in your non-Cartesian, non-length, breadth and depth. Oh, what else have we got that contrasts this non-Cartesian hyperbolic bollocks? No, mate, it's just a contrast you gobbled down at the feast of nonsense. So they've got something to argue with in contrast to their fourth dimensional space-time. That's why Bob from Globebusters thinks gas goes down. Because it's basically gravity, you stupid idiot.
Yep.
No, it's definitely a lot different than gravity, but...
Oh, really? Why does Bob from Globebusters think gas goes down, then?
Why are you asking me what he thinks?
Because it's part of the claim of ether that directly parallels pseudo-force space. Try and keep up with the conversation, you moron. We're explaining why.
Yeah.
You brought up the dielectric field. Come on.
Yeah, he claims dielectric acceleration causes the gas to go down, go boom, boom. Dielectric. The dielectric field, the thing that's unmanifest.
Yep, unmanifest.
Not ether. Thing that's not ether.
Yeah, is this sinking in? It's just the feast of nonsense crap to contrast gravity. But you think you're smart challenging us with this crap about seeing the unseen. And you don't accept that it's a contradiction in terms when you see the unmanifest. You're just idiots.
Manifest. I said it's pure potential. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, the pure potential of a field that's non-manifest. And as I said to Die Slow, you cannot measure potential in something non-manifest.
Yes, you can, and that's...
Oh, really? So in something that cannot be seen, or made clear to the mind even, I can measure something and how much its potential it's got, when it's not even clear to be seen in the mind or physically. Oh, I'm going to measure the potential in that thing that can't be seen or qualified physically or even in the mind. I'm going to measure its potential, am I? Dick. Chuckle for me, you embarrassment to flat Earth.
You said
How
that
do you
already.
measure the unseen?
You can't! These guys are an embarrassment. All they've done is gobbled down this nonsense that has been put on the table for us to spew up to be argued next to gravity. I ask why one of the gurus of this nonsense claim believes that gas falls. I'm like, why? Well, because he believes there's a dielectric, that would be the non-manifest field you're arguing for, causing it to not happen. Because it doesn't happen, gas expands in all directions. You dicks have got gas falling, but you don't realise that it's part of the gravity that you've been force-fed to argue next to with a contrasting bullshit claim. You're not recognising that yet, you thickos in flat Earth. You are all an embarrassment.
Field. Everything has an electric field. You understand that,
That's
right?
fascinating. Not everything's got an ether that's non-manifest directly connected to it, though.
It doesn't.
Yeah, laugh for me, you fundy dick. You're just embarrassing to us who actually take this stuff seriously. You want to seem smart by regurgitating crap that you've managed to listen to repeatedly from other idiots who regurgitate it, and then you chuckle when we embarrass you with your nonsense and contrasting opinions that completely annihilate their self in the sentence they're being used in. Seeing the unseen is just a nonsense that flat earthers are embarrassing us with, and I'm tired of it. This is why people think flat earthers are stupid, because they are. You are stupid when you go around garbaging this nonsense out of your mouth. It just embarrasses me and everyone around me. I hate it. I hate this nonsense claim.
You're not even going to look into it yourself.
I've looked into it. You've told me it's the essence of what's on screen now. Seeing something that is, by definition, unseeable.
Did I say I was an expert on the subject?
Why are you babbling on about it then if you're not an expert?
That's just surface level research then, Nathan.
Sorry, surface level research led me to the contradiction in terms that you're claiming. Yeah, that's the silence I expected when I point out there's a contradiction in terms about seeing something that's non-manifest. That's exactly the silence I expect. I have researched this shite. I've been here long enough. I know feast of nonsense material when I see it, and I know vomit when I hear it coming out of your mouth.
So you obviously don't understand electricity, if that's the case.
Right, when I assume that there's a non-manifest field directly connected to electricity, I don't do that.
Yeah, then you're completely...
Yeah. No, why would I be assuming that there's a non-manifest, non-seeable, never to be shown, but also simultaneously on screen with a square around it, the unseen scene that is directly connected? This black hole is simultaneously the contrasting field that electric fields need. No, I'm definitely not going to assume that. Definitely not when it's a contradiction in terms. Definitely not based on a yellow square around two black dots. No, that doesn't convince me of counter space. It doesn't convince me of pseudo force space that contrasts it, and it certainly doesn't convince me of ether.
You don't understand electricity.
That's an ad hominem attack. We're asking about ether.
Talking about ether.
Is electricity ether?
No, it is not.
No, it's one of the most...
No, so who cares?
Who cares, exactly?
Yeah, because you're not going to be paralleling it when you assume there's a simultaneous non-manifest ether field that your electric field relies upon. When it's both non-manifest, meaning we can't see it, and claimed to be shown in these dots, which is a contradiction in terms, and stupid. The fact that you fell for this is embarrassing to me.
How was the AC generator made without even understanding?
Sorry, without having ether? It doesn't need ether, because we're not going to be assuming that there's a non-manifest field that parallels the electric field that you'll go into when describing generation of electric fields. That isn't going to be paralleled with an assumption of something non-manifest that's also on screen being shown as being manifest and also non-manifest and needed when you assume it. That isn't going to happen. None of us assume it. Only you regurgitate this crap that you scoff down at the feast of nonsense. I'm not going to be assuming it.
All right, Nathan, I'm done with you. I want QE now.
You want QE?
It's,
What are you,
yeah,
fucking
you don't want QE.
masochist? You dumb motherfucker.
No, I could be.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
I'm not.
question.
I'm asking the question.
Fucktard. So, you're denying the tenets of quantum mechanics. Is that correct?
What is quantum mechanics?
What are you using to communicate with us now, please?
My phone with a headset.
So your phone. Your
Yeah.
ignorance is floating light years beyond the forests of Azure, son. Quantum mechanics is the bedrock foundation of solid-state transistors and the entire frigging semiconductor industry as a whole, you ignorant fucking mong. Your position right now is tantamount to Dale Earnhardt Jr. giving an in-race interview and denying the existence of internal combustion engines, you fucking retard.
Actually, that's false because the.
No, actually, that's true. Do you know, can you define the difference between conductors, insulators, and semiconductors, please?
No, I'm not answering any of your questions.
So you're fucking muted then.
So
you're a fucking moron.
His opening attempt was to take control by saying, I'll be asking the questions. I'll take control of this. No, you won't. Dumbest person here.
What place are
Embarrassment
they
to
in?
us all. So they've all come out of the woodwork. I wasn't around on Saturday. I was dealing with wires on my birthday. But they've all decided to crawl out of the woodwork now. You've obviously set them all off. Good. You've set the cockroaches. You've flicked the light switch on and they're all running everywhere.
Yeah, I had the flamethrower with me too. So, as you'll notice, these ether fuckwits, as soon as you ask them what ether is, they're going to red herring fallacy you to death. They're going to ask you about everything else besides their claim. That's what they do. That's all they got. They'll change their definition of what ether, well, they don't even know what it is. But once you nail them down to it, it's a non-manifested medium. In other words, that's what they give you. When you get into some semblance of reason. But they're going to attack everything, man. It's guns a-blazing. What's ether? Does the mind exist? Do Prusik knots exist? That's what you're going to get. Thanks.
I'm straight that we were told for so long it's unmanifested, and then today somebody's like, look, picture.
Yeah, picture.
What? Why is this the first time we've been presented with a picture? Is this new? Did this come out yesterday? Is this hot off the presses or what? I don't get it.
Ken Wheeler was smearing blood on his plates and sticking it in a field quite some time ago. But with that, I think I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned as this extended live show is going to continue with an after show. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all who smashed the super chat while that was going on that I didn't read out. Hopefully I'll get to you in the after show. And of course, for all of you shared, liked, commented, joined as a member and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on a Premiering Stream. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video. Shout out to Unitox Femu. He says, manifesting ego is always cool. Like I did now. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show.